The nib of a quill scratches against parchment, leaving behind ink that stings more than a physical blow. These are Nicole's words, sharp and final, declaring that she is nothing more than a convenient accessory to the man she was supposed to marry. In a few minutes, Keios will fall to his knees in a crowded ballroom, screaming her name as she prepares to leave him forever. But first, he has to face the reality of the paper in his hands. His dark-haired friend points to the page, his voice low and heavy with the weight of the truth. He explains that this letter isn't just a complaint. It's a eulogy for a relationship where Nicole felt completely unloved, used merely to fill a social requirement while her heart withered in the shadows. The heavy oak doors of the room burst open, and Lobelia charges in like a storm. She doesn't offer a greeting. She offers a demand, shouting at the stunned Keios to apologize for his years of cold indifference and his total disregard for Nicole's humanity. Lobelia's fury is a physical thing, her words lashing out as she asks him if he finally, truly understands the depth of the pain he's inflicted. She's a blur of righteous anger until Emilio appears in the doorway, his hands gentle but firm as he pulls her back from the confrontation. Before she lets herself be led away, Lobelia throws one last insult at his lack of foresight, telling him to look into the mirror of his own actions and reflect on the ruins of his engagement. Emilio guides her out, leaving the room suddenly, oppressively quiet. Left in the silence, Keios collapses. His knees hit the floor as the weight of Nicole's words finally settles in his chest. The realization that he looked at her for years and saw only an object, a fixture of his status, rather than a living, breathing woman who needed his love. He stares at the floor, whispering the question, "What is love?" to the empty air. His ponytail-wearing friend kneels beside him, offering a hard truth. He needs to stop worrying about being loved and start worrying about being sincere. Earnestness is the only currency he has left. The dark-haired friend resolves right then and there to learn from his own past foolishness, vowing not to be the kind of man who disturbs the peace of others. He exits, leaving Keios alone to grapple with concepts like sincerity, ideas that feel like a foreign language to a man who has always taken everything for granted. Keios wanders through the academy hallways later that day, his eyes glazed and distant. He's a ghost in a fine coat, muttering love, sincerity, earnestness under his breath, drawing confused and concerned looks from the students who pass him by. Then, a realization hits him like a lightning strike. Nicole doesn't just lack affection for him. She has reached a point where she expects absolutely nothing from him at all. The bar isn't just low, it's buried in the dirt. He knows he has to start meeting expectations he never even knew existed if he wants to build an ounce of trust. He spots Lobelia in the courtyard and calls out to her, his voice desperate for a starting point. He stops and watches from a distance as Emilio presents a gift to Lobelia, a hair ornament chosen with such obvious care that it perfectly complements her. The joy between them is radiant, a sharp contrast to the cold distance he's maintained with Nicole. A painful image flashes in his mind, Nicole smiling like that. He imagines handing her a gift that actually means something, seeing that wall of polite detachment crumble just for a second, and the thought fills him with a sudden, desperate hope. But memory is a cruel teacher. He recalls the way Nicole used to accept his generic, thoughtless gifts with a polite nod and a hollow thank you. He realizes now that his laziness was a message, telling her she wasn't worth the effort of a second thought. Year after year, he bought her white flowers, assuming they suited her because they were standard. He clenches his fist, the shame burning in his throat as he resolves to never be that careless man again. He will find something that actually belongs to her. While Keios is consumed by his new resolve, Nicole is in a different world entirely. She sits at her desk, the quiet rustle of pages the only sound in her room as she loses herself in the safety of a book. She's reading a scene where a heroine prepares for a dance, receiving a beautiful necklace from a suitor. Nicole traces the lines of the illustration, her finger lingering on the jewelry in the drawing, comparing the fiction to her own sterile reality. She finds herself rooting for the humble servant character in the story, preferring his quiet encouragement over the flashy, nihilistic lead. It makes her wonder, what kind of man would she actually choose if she weren't already claimed like a piece of property? She sighs, leaning back. Since she's been promised to Lord Keios since they were children, she never bothered to develop a type. She decides she's perfectly content with the fluttering of her heart being reserved only for the characters in her ink-stained pages. She stretches out on her bed, whispering to the ceiling that being alone is much easier than the exhausting performance of a one-sided engagement. But the peace is broken by a sharp knock. Her maid announces that Lord Keios has arrived, unannounced and unexpected. Nicole smooths her dress and heads downstairs, her mind racing. Why is he here? In the foyer, Keios stands stiffly, clutching a small, elegantly wrapped gift box as if it were a shield. She asks him with practiced politeness if he needs something. He looks flustered, apologizing for the short notice before thrusting the box toward her with a trembling hand. With his permission, she carefully undoes the ribbon. Inside, a pair of flower-shaped hair combs glint in the light. Nicole stares at them, her breath hitching. They aren't white. They are a vibrant, warm orange. Keios stammers out an explanation, mentioning that he remembered her saying she liked orange. He blushes furiously, telling her to wear them to the next soiree before he practically flees the house, leaving her standing there in a daze. She's left alone in the hallway, the weight of the box in her palm feeling heavier than anything he's ever given her. It's the first time in years he's actually seen her, and the shock of it is almost frightening. She touches the petals of the ornament, a memory surfacing of a passing comment she made months ago about how orange flowers cheer her up. Why is he doing this now? Why is he suddenly paying attention when she's already decided to let go? Nicole shakes her head, trying to steady her heart. She reaffirms her goal. She will be fine on her own. This newfound attention is a distraction from the reality that, as a noblewoman, her time of freedom is ticking away like a clock. As she walks through the grand halls of her estate, she can't ignore the cold facts of her world. Without marriage, a woman has no rights, no inheritance, and no job. She is a bird in a gilded cage, and the cage door is about to lock. Back in her room, she clutches her book tightly. She envies the women in the distant land of Illegale, a place where women can hold the same jobs as men. To her, it sounds like a fairy tale, a land where you can earn your own bread and your own dignity. She wonders, if she had been born there, would she even look at Keios? She contemplates a life of independence, a life where she doesn't have to wait for a man to notice her favorite color just to feel like she exists. The scene splits. Keios sits in his own room, looking somber and haunted, while Nicole rests pensively. Between them lies the gift box, a bridge of orange silk and metal that represents a question neither of them is ready to answer. A title card appears, framed by delicate flowers. Enjoy my solitude. Leave my fiancé alone. It's a declaration of war against a fate she never chose. That night, Keios is haunted. In his dream, a floral hair ornament falls to the floor and shatters like glass. He reaches out, stammering Nicole's name, but the air is cold and empty. Nicole appears in the dream, but her eyes are ice. She looks down at him with a chilling sneer, asking him why he's even trying anymore. The cruelty in her voice is a reflection of the years of silence he gave her. She laughs, a villainous sound that echoes in the void, and Keios cowers on the floor, terrified of the woman he pushed away. He snaps awake, his heart hammering against his ribs. He's drenched in sweat, gasping for air. It was just a dream, he tells himself, but the heavy sigh that follows proves he knows better. The dream was a warning. He's running out of time. The day of the Academy soiree arrives, and the air is thick with the scent of perfume and ambition. Students in their finest silks arrive, the men offering arms to their fiancés in a display of practiced grace. Chapter 9, A New Path, opens with a quiet moment. Nicole is alone in a classroom, standing by the window. The sunlight catches her hair, but her expression is one of calm, stoic waiting. Keios rushes into the room, out of breath. He stops dead when he sees her. His eyes go immediately to her hair. She's wearing the orange ornament. The sight of it makes his heart skip a beat. He's flustered, his usual cool exterior melting away as he stammers out a compliment. He tells her it looks good on her, his voice cracking slightly with the sincerity his friend told him he needed. Nicole gives him a soft, measured thank you. He offers his hand, and for a moment, they just stand there, the distance between them still vast, but bridged by a single piece of jewelry. As they walk through the hallways, the whispers start. Other students notice the change in Keios, his attentive posture, and the way he looks at Nicole. They hope he's finally realized what he has before it's gone. They enter the grand hall, where Princess Caroline stands atop the staircase, a vision of royal authority. She welcomes the students, her eyes scanning the crowd with a knowing glint. Beside her is Prince Wilhelm of Illegale. Nicole watches him closely. He represents that distant land of freedom she dreams about, a living symbol of a world where she could be more than just a wife. She feels Keios staring at her and asks if there's something on her face. He looks away quickly, his face flushing red as he denies it, but his eyes keep drifting back to the orange flowers in her hair. Nicole misreads the situation entirely. She assumes he's avoiding her gaze because he's heartbroken over Princess Caroline. She has no idea that he's actually mesmerized by the gift he gave her. Keios is overwhelmed. Seeing her wear his gift fills him with a warmth he's never felt before. It's a small victory, but to him, it feels like the first real connection they've ever had. They take to the floor as the music swells. They dance with a grace that hides the tension between them. Keios reflecting on the fact that he's finally feeling things he never knew he was capable of. He stares at her as they spin, wondering if she's happy. Nicole feels his gaze like a physical heat, feeling self-conscious and confused by this new, intense version of the man who used to ignore her. Princess Caroline approaches them, introducing Lord Keios and Lady Nicole to Prince Wilhelm. The air in the room seems to shift as the foreign prince turns his attention toward them. When Wilhelm smiles warmly at Nicole, something snaps in Keios. In a sudden, possessive movement, he steps in and pulls Nicole close to his side, marking his territory in front of the royal guest. He composes himself, trying to mask his jealousy with a polite welcome. He's realizing that his affection for Nicole is growing into something fierce and protective, a fire he can no longer extinguish. Prince Wilhelm invites them to visit Illegale. Nicole is entranced by his low, elegant voice and the easy way he carries himself, while Caroline praises Nicole for her incredible diligence and intellect. The secret is out. Caroline reveals that Nicole has been teaching herself Illegese. The prince's eyes light up, and they immediately begin to bond over their shared love for the author Rain Wilderness. Wilhelm is genuinely impressed by her dedication to his culture's literature. Nicole glows under the praise, her face lighting up with a genuine passion that Keios has rarely seen directed at him. Keios feels a sharp pang of anguish. He watches her smile, a real, vibrant smile, and realizes with a sinking heart that he has never been the one to make her look that happy. He's the anchor, and the prince is the wind. He tries to end the conversation, claiming they need to leave, but the prince is persistent. He wants to talk more about language and books, drawing Nicole further into a world where she is valued for her mind. Keios watches her laugh and feels a cold dread. Around him, her expressions are always dull and controlled. Around the prince, she is alive. The contrast is a blade twisted in his gut. Then, the prince says the words that change everything. He suggests that if Nicole wants to learn more, she should study abroad in Illegale and work there. The room seems to go silent. Nicole's heart races. This is it. This is the independent alternative to marriage she's been dreaming of. A way out. Keios looks on, his face pale with anxiety as he sees his future slipping away. He panics. He realizes that Nicole's commitment to him was only ever born of necessity. Now that she has another option, a better option, why would she ever stay with a man who neglected her? The prince offers to discuss the details of a study abroad program, but Keios can't contain himself. He shouts, "You can't." His voice echoing through the ballroom, stopping the music. He grabs Nicole's wrist, his grip tight and desperate. The entire room is watching now, stunned by the sudden outburst. Nicole looks at him, her eyes wide with bewilderment and the first stirrings of a new kind of defiance. The title card returns, a floral border framing the words that Nicole is now living. Enjoy my solitude. Leave my fiancé alone. The battle for her future has truly begun. A flashback reveals the seeds of this disaster. A younger Keios decides to wash off his sweat after training before opening Nicole's letter. By the time he's done, he's too tired, convincing himself he'll read it in the morning. But the next morning is busy. Then he gets into trouble with his mother for a prank involving the chancellor and a pit trap. Nicole's letter sits on his desk, unopened and forgotten, a small paper ghost. Days later, he finally opens it. Nicole's handwriting is neat and polite, asking how he's been. It's a simple gesture of connection that he views as a chore rather than a gift. She writes about her love of reading and asks about his hobbies. He picks up a quill, intending to reply, but his mind is full of the things boys care about, not the quiet thoughts of a girl he barely knows. He thinks about telling her about the giant rhinoceros beetle he found with the princess, and how they made their governess scream. He starts to write, but then he pauses. He decides a beetle battle isn't intellectual enough for a noble girl. He frets over the words, overthinking until he eventually just puts the quill down. He'll finish it later, he tells himself. He never does. A second letter arrives. He's terrified it's a complaint about his silence, so he avoids it for 3 days. When he finally opens it, it's just a gentle message telling him to take care of himself. The guilt should sting, but instead, he just feels relieved. A third letter comes, and then a fourth. He sends back short, clipped responses. Over time, the pile of her letters grows high, while his replies remain a trickle. He was teaching her, even then, that her voice didn't matter. Back in the present, Chapter 10 opens with the echoes of Keios' shout. He takes Nicole's arm and begins to lead her away from the prince and the crowd, his face set in a mask of grim determination. He turns to the gathered nobles, his voice ringing out with an unexpected authority. He demands that no one try to mislead his fiancée, his eyes darting around as if searching for more threats to his happiness. He claims she can't go to Illegale alone because she's too beautiful, that she would be a target for undesirables. It's a classic excuse, masking his own fear of losing her behind a veil of protective concern. He berates himself internally for leaving her unattended for so long. He holds her hand tightly, the physical contact a desperate attempt to anchor her to him before she drifts away to a foreign shore. Then, in a move that shocks everyone, he pulls her into a tight embrace. Right there in the middle of the ballroom, he declares loudly that he will never leave her alone again. He will not yield her to anyone. The onlookers are dumbfounded. Nicole is pressed against his chest, looking up at him with an expression that isn't love, it's confusion. He whispers her name, his heart beating fast against hers. Nicole gently but firmly steps back. She creates space between them, her voice calm and steady. She addresses his concerns about her safety abroad, telling him quite clearly that there is no need for him to worry. She gives him a brilliant, cheerful smile, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the heart because the heart is already elsewhere. She tells him she's gotten completely used to being alone. She doesn't need a protector. Keios freezes, the words hitting him like a physical blow. A text overlay reminds the viewer of the story's core lesson. You can't reach your destination if you only follow the paths others have made for you. An illustration shows the heroine of Nicole's favorite book forging her own path through a wilderness. A hand closes the book, signaling the end of Nicole's time as a passive observer of her own life. Nicole is later seen sitting on a park bench, reflecting on that message. She looks empowered, ready to face the world. Keios runs up to her, his face full of a new, desperate kind of energy. He tries to invite her to town, suggesting they buy matching accessories, items that would mark them as a couple in the eyes of the world. It's a transparent attempt to claim her. He pushes the idea, but Nicole cuts him off. She reveals her plan. She is going to study in Illegale. Furthermore, she's already written to his father about delaying their marriage indefinitely. She adds the final sting. His parents happily agreed. They saw the merit in her education. Keios is left speechless, his rage and sorrow boiling over as she turns to leave for her studies. He remains frozen on the bench, a broken man in a beautiful garden. Nicole walks away, her step light and her head held high. She is finally free of the weight of his expectations. Keios falls to his knees, crying out in despair. Bystanders watch, whispering about the fall of the great Lord Keios, while Nicole simply smiles at the sky, content in her new direction. A transition page shows Gerbera flowers, a single petal falling. It's a quiet moment of change, marking the end of the first act of their crumbling romance. In West Wing Interview Room 2, a group of candidates gathers. An official explains the grueling process for the government scholarship, the only way for someone like Nicole to afford a life abroad. Nicole stands before the selection panel, She speaks with a clarity she never had before, stating her desire to bring the concept of equal employment back to their kingdom. She isn't just running away, she's building something. A decorative title splash marks the shift in the story. Nicole is no longer the girl waiting for a letter. She is the woman writing her own destiny. She checks her academic standing and realizes she has to be the absolute best to win the scholarship. Behind her, an onlooker scowls, frustrated by the presence of a woman in their competitive space. Chapter 11 begins with Nicole walking confidently past Keios in the hallway. He watches her, the realization finally sinking in that she wasn't bluffing. She is truly, terrifyingly serious about leaving. Keios vents to his friends, complaining that Nicole's protective classmates have formed a literal wall around her. He can't even get close enough to speak to her anymore. His friends don't give him the sympathy he wants. They tell him not to block her dreams. Keios argues that she shouldn't overwork herself, but they see right through him. He just wants his accessory back. 3 days after the test results, Nicole arrives at the interview room. She pauses at the door, taking a deep breath before she knocks. This is the threshold of her new life. She enters to find a room full of male applicants. Their eyes are cold and dismissive. The old Nicole would have turned and fled, but this Nicole steals her nerves and walks to her seat. A dark-haired boy sitting next to her sneers. He asks what a girl is doing at a briefing for exchange students, his voice dripping with the arrogance of his class and gender. Nicole doesn't flinch. She declares she is an applicant. When he accuses her of just looking for a husband, she coolly informs him she already has a fiancé. This sort of speaks volumes. The boy tells her she's a nuisance to serious applicants. Nicole's eyes narrow with annoyance, but she's saved from a confrontation by the entrance of the instructor. The instructor outlines the brutal timeline: application forms, language tests in August, and only the top 5 moving on to interviews. Nicole glances at her neighbor, sizing up the competition. She listens as the instructor mentions that lifestyle and exams will factor in. Nicole does the math. She predicts half of these boys will drop out before the second term even begins. The instructor tells them to stand and introduce themselves. This is the moment to show their resolve. Nicole watches as the first student rises, her heart pounding against her ribs. The dark-haired boy stands. He is Claude Basile, the eldest son of a count. Nicole recognizes the name. He's from a powerful family with a massive territory to manage. She wonders why an heir would need to study abroad. Claude surprises everyone by saying his goal is the future of his specific territory, not just the kingdom. He's practical, not just ambitious. Then, it's her turn. Nicole stands, her voice clear as a bell. She introduces herself as Nicole Portlet and explains her fascination with the labor laws of Illegal. She speaks with passion about learning how independent women live and work. She wants to be a mirror for her own country, showing them a future there. Claude Basile watches her from the corner of his eye, his expression unreadable as she redoubles her resolve. She leaves the session, only to find Keios waiting for her in the hallway. He's practically vibrating with an energy that Nicole finds deeply suspicious. He puts on an act of full elegance, trying to charm her. Nicole isn't buying it, especially since it's obvious he was eavesdropping on the entire meeting from behind the door. Claude walks by and sees them. He suggests that if they're so affectionate, they should just get married and forget all this studying abroad nonsense. It's a direct challenge to Nicole's resolve. Nicole snaps. She shouts that Keios doesn't love her and that Claude is completely mistaken. Claude just scoffs and walks away, leaving a stunned Keios in his wake. Nicole thinks about how she doesn't want to be a burden to Keios if their engagement eventually ends. Meanwhile, Keios collapses on the floor again, her words "he doesn't love me" echoing in his head like a death knell. His friends find him and offer no mercy. They tell him he's just reaping the rewards of his own neglect. They ask if he ever even told her the truth about Princess Caroline. His silence is his answer. Nicole tells him he should feel free to break off the engagement if her plans cause him trouble. To her, it's a kindness. To Keios, it's the sound of his world ending. Keios vents about his jealousy. He's terrified that some other applicant will try to steal her away while she's abroad. He's still thinking of her as a prize to be won or lost. His friends call him out. They tell him that using worry as an excuse to control her is pathetic. Keios admits he's terrified of her hatred, but he doesn't know how to fix it. A dark thought crosses his mind. What if she fails? A friend suggests he just pray she doesn't get the scholarship. Keios feels like the lowest of the low for even considering it. His friends decide to support Nicole, seeing her as an inspiration for women everywhere. They leave him to his misery, heading off to their own dates, leaving Keios alone with his guilt. Keios sighs, wondering what he can possibly do for her now. In another part of the city, Nicole looks up at the sky, her mind already halfway across the border. Nicole is in her room, practicing her elegies. Her reading is perfect, but she realizes she can't speak it. She needs a tutor, but her family's finances won't allow for such a luxury. She thinks about asking Lobelia for help. Meanwhile, Keios is busy making a request of his own to a student named Emilio, his face set in a look of urgent desperation. At lunch, Keios grumbles about needing permission just to eat with his own fiancé. Caroline and Emilio tell him it's a taste of his own medicine. He's finally feeling the isolation he forced on Nicole. Nicole watches them talk, wondering what Keios and Emilio are plotting. Caroline interrupts her thoughts with a surprise. Would you like to study elegies with me? It's an incredible offer. Caroline says she has a new teacher at the Royal Palace. Nicole is tempted. This could be exactly what she needs to pass the August tests. Nicole weighs the options. It would help her family's reputation to be seen at the palace, but she worries she would be taking up the princess's valuable time. She's hesitant. She doesn't want to rely on charity, even from a friend. She wants to earn her way to Illegale on her own merits, without special favors. Caroline insists she just wants a study partner. She even suggests that Keios should be the one to escort Nicole to the palace every day. It's a blatant setup. Keios is stunned, but when Caroline gives him a wink, he realizes the romantic potential. Hours alone in a carriage with Nicole, it's exactly what he's been dreaming of. He's thrilled. Caroline is proud of her plan to help his romance while getting Nicole the help she needs. Two birds with one stone, she thinks. But Lobelia isn't having it. She warns Nicole that Keios is a lewd man who is definitely up to something. She sees the carriage rides as a trap for Nicole's virtue. The other students join in, calling Keios dangerous and lecherous. Caroline's matchmaking plan falls apart in real time as the room turns against Keios' intentions. Nicole politely declines the offer. She tells Caroline she would love to accept, but she simply can't. There's a steeliness in her voice that brooks no argument. She explains that receiving special accommodations wouldn't be fair to the other applicants. Keios watches her, his heart swelling with a new kind of admiration for her integrity. Caroline apologizes for her lack of consideration. Nicole reflects on how her life has changed. Ever since she started acting for herself, she's been surrounded by wonderful people. But she still needs to learn the language. She remembers a rumor about a certain part of the city and decides to take a risk. She heads out into the bustling streets alone. In a busy town square, a hand drops onto her shoulder. "Hey you there," a cheerful voice says. Nicole jumps, her heart leaping into her throat. A young man asks if she's lost. He's casual, forward, and completely unlike the nobleman she knows. Nicole is flustered, her face heating up at his familiar tone. He calls her pretty cute and invites her to his workplace. Nicole knows this is probably bad, but something about his easy manner makes her follow him anyway. The man, Ray, leads her into a building. From the shadows, a voice scolds him for dragging another girl here. Nicole freezes, recognizing the voice. She's shocked to see Princess Caroline there, but she's not in royal silk. She's wearing a simple apron and a shirt, looking like a commoner. The world is upside down. Then, she sees the waiter. It's Lord Claude Basile. He looks at her and demands to know what she's doing there, his face a mask of irritation and shock. Ray is surprised they know each other. He jokes about not hitting on friends of friends, while Claude just glares at him, wishing he could disappear into the floorboards. Claude tells Nicole to leave. He says this is no place for a lady and forbids her from using his family name. Here, he is just Claude, a man working for his bread. Nicole is fascinated. Why is a count's heir working in a place like this? A waitress approaches and asks if she's Claude's friend, but he just huffs and ignores her. The staff teases him, calling him a sly fox for bringing a pretty girl around. They push him to take her to see grandmother, who is waiting upstairs. Claude leads a confused Nicole through the kitchen and up a narrow flight of stairs. The air smells of spices and old wood, a world away from the sterile palace. He knocks and opens the door to a cozy room. An elderly woman in a rocking chair looks up and smiles. She welcomes them with a warmth that makes Nicole feel instantly at ease. Then, the woman speaks, in perfect Iligese. She asks Claude if he brought a friend. Nicole's eyes go wide. She's found what she was looking for. The woman, Miss Zaloa, explains that Claude started helping out after she hurt her back. Claude snaps at Nicole, asking why she was wandering around this part of town alone. Nicole sheepishly explains her plan. She heard there were Iligese workers nearby and thought she could buy them drinks in exchange for conversation practice. She describes the plan with such innocent excitement that Claude looks like he's about to have an aneurysm. He can't believe how naive she is. He bluntly tells her the place she heard about is a brothel. Miss Zaloa adds that they use foreign girls to lure in unsuspecting men and women. Nicole turns pale with horror. Nicole is devastated by her own carelessness. Miss Zaloa comforts her, revealing that Claude was actually in the area for the exact same reason, to learn the language from the source. Claude made a deal to work in the restaurant in exchange for lessons. Nicole looks at him with a new respect. He's doing exactly what she wanted to do, earning his own way. Miss Zaloa suggests Nicole come to the restaurant to practice with Claude. It's safer, and it keeps her away from the dangerous parts of the city. Nicole looks at Claude, her eyes full of hope. He sighs, finally giving in, but he has one condition. One rule she must follow. She must keep this a secret from everyone, especially her fiancé. He doesn't want the drama of Lord Keios descending on his place of work. Nicole agrees instantly. She realizes she was so overwhelmed she barely spoke a word of Iligese. Claude tells her to hurry home before it gets dark, his voice gruff, but no longer cruel. As she walks home in the twilight, Nicole makes a vow. She will keep her secret work and her lessons hidden. This is her chance, and she won't let anything, or anyone, take it away. At the royal palace, Keios' friends have called an emergency meeting. They've noticed the distance between him and Nicole is only getting wider, and they're worried. They brainstorm ways for him to be near her. Mastering the language? Applying for the same program? They're trying to save a sinking ship with spoons. Keios makes a decision. He will apply for the knight's course at the university in Iligale. If she goes, he will be there to protect her, as a professional, if not as a husband. He explains the advantages of the course, and his friends encourage him to start studying with Nicole. They think it's a brilliant way to bridge the gap, but Keios is hesitant. He's learned his lesson. He's afraid that following her will seem frightening or obsessive. He doesn't want to distract her from her goal. He decides to be patient. He reflects on how his past neglect forced her to find comfort in solitude. He can't just undo years of damage in a single week. He worries that she's so focused on her August tests that she won't have any room in her heart for him. It's a bitter irony. Now he's the one waiting for her to notice him. At the restaurant Ellen's, Nicole is a whirlwind of activity. Ray arrives for his shift, his usual cheerful self, bringing a burst of energy to the kitchen. Miss Zaloa tells Nicole that Ray is a good man. He spends his days caring for his sick sister before coming here to work all night. Nicole is moved by his dedication. She gains a deep respect for the people here. She offers to take out the trash, giving Claude and the others a chance to head upstairs for their break. Outside, the air is cool. Nicole reflects on how much she's learned, and how Claude isn't as harsh as he seems. Then, she feels eyes on her. Someone is watching. She spots a young girl peeking from around a corner. Their eyes meet for a split second before the girl turns and bolts, disappearing into the shadows of the alley. Nicole returns inside, her mind racing. Was that a student from the academy? If someone saw her in commoner's clothes, her reputation and her secret could be ruined. Later, Claude asks her if she's really okay with this life. He asks if her fiancé would object to her keeping such big secrets. Nicole tells him Keios supports her dreams, but her voice wavers. Claude leaves, and the girl with the braids appears again. This time, she doesn't run. She confronts Nicole, her face a mask of desperate, tearful anger. She demands to know what Nicole was doing with Lord Claude. She's young, probably a first year, and she's clearly heartbroken. Nicole is caught completely off guard. The girl begs Nicole not to tell Claude she was spying. She flees before Nicole can even explain, leaving her with a new, complicated problem to solve. Chapter 14, An Abandoned Love, opens with Nicole staring out a window. Claude is in the background, a silent presence that now carries the weight of a secret admirer. At the academy, Nicole is practicing her dancing with Keios. He's happy, enjoying the rare chance to have her all to himself without her guards nearby. But Nicole is distracted. She's thinking about the girl and Claude. Her feet slip, and she accidentally stomps on Keios' foot with a sharp wince. Keios is a gentleman about it. He asks if she's been practicing, noting that her dancing has actually improved significantly. He doesn't know the reason why. Nicole realizes that being a waitress, carrying heavy trays, and being on her feet all day has given her a physical strength she never had as a pampered noblewoman. She can't tell him the truth. She goes back to the dance, but her eyes keep drifting toward Claude across the room. Keios notices, and a flicker of the old jealousy returns. Later in town, she runs into Claude. He tells her the restaurant is closed because the owner has a cold. He's running errands, looking tired but determined. Nicole insists on helping him. He tries to refuse, but she's persistent. Eventually, he lets her take a few of the bags, and they walk through the market together. Claude comments on her language skills. He calls her a chatterbox, a teasing remark that makes Nicole laugh. It's a genuine, easy moment of friendship. Nicole asks if he has a fiancé. He says yes, a first year, 2 years younger than them. Nicole realizes that the girl from the alley must be the one. Claude says the engagement is only in name. When Nicole asks why they don't spend time together, he shuts down. That's none of your business, he snaps. He apologizes for the tone after they deliver the supplies, but the damage is done. He leaves, and Nicole is left feeling the sting of his cold rejection. She stands alone, reflecting on the loneliness of an absent fiancé. It reminds her too much of her own life with Keios, back when he didn't care if she existed or not. In a classroom, a teacher finishes a lecture on maidens' hearts. Keios is taking notes as if his life depends on it. He asks about inviting Nicole to the June market. The teacher tells him to slow down. It's only May. He reminds Keios of the upcoming soiree at the end of the month, a crucial chance for him to make a move. Keios regrets his past. His friends scold him for his lack of patience and remind him that tailing people is a crime, not a romantic gesture. He's trying, but he's still clumsy. He runs off, shouting that he's a failure. He's terrified that the distance between him and Nicole is becoming a permanent chasm he can never cross. He spots Nicole in the hallway and calls her name. He's trying to be the man she deserves, but the fear of failure is always there, lurking in the shadows. Nicole notices his worry. She mentions Claude Basile, bringing up his name in a way that makes Keios' heart sink. Why is she talking about another man? She mentions that Claude doesn't seem to pay his fiancé any mind. Keios knows Claude. He's an honor student from a top family. He's the perfect rival. He feels the jealousy flare up, wondering how she knows such personal details about Claude. But he stops himself. He decides it's best not to pry into her private life. He offers to return her library book for her. It's a small, thoughtful gesture. He just wants a few more minutes of her time, a few more words before she goes home. He rushes toward the library, his mind full of hope. In his haste, he rounds a corner and slams into another student, the book flying from his hand and hitting the floor. He apologizes and reaches for the book. It's a text on botany. He looks up and realizes the man he hit is none other than Claude Basile. Claude is cold, barely acknowledging the apology. Keios looks at him and sees a mirror of his old self, a man who ignores the woman he's supposed to protect. He realizes Claude is making the same mistakes he did. He feels a strange bond with the man, a shared history of regret. He resolves to take action at the soiree. He leaves Claude with a cheerful, "Let's do our best," a message of solidarity that leaves Claude completely confused. The stage is set for the final dance of the term. The spring soiree arrives. Keios offers his arm to Nicole, leading her into the ballroom. It's their first soiree as third-year students, and the air is thick with the promise of a future that is finally, for the first time, in their own hands.